The matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
the sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 We are a nation of resilience and hope, where dreams are within reach and opportunities abound. Our strength lies not in the perfection of our systems, but in the power of our unity and the determination to overcome any obstacle. We are a country that has a foundation built on freedom, and that freedom provides us the ability to bring about change. Together, we can pave the way for a more just outshines the colors of truth.
Finish the job, which means for us, turn us full-blown communists. And that's where all this corruption comes from. This man who's been in politics for 40-something years.
It's all right to be ordained, but I don't want to lose you too.
Donald Trump is also very old and a racist and a neo-Nazi. But anyways, I'm not even going to talk about Trump right now.
He did some things I agreed with. He did some things I disagreed with. But one thing he absolutely never did is kill 6 million Jewish people. At the RNC last week, we saw everybody from all walks of life get up on that stage and endorse Trump. And that includes Jewish people. That includes black people. That includes gay people. It includes all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life. And look, Trump honestly likes anybody who likes him, if we're being honest. So any of this notion, you don't have to agree with his policies in every case. You don't have to think he's an upstanding citizen with pure moral backbone, exactly. But anybody claiming that he is a neo-Nazi or comparing him to Hitler is engaged in some of the most ridiculous, dangerous, and reprehensible hyperbole imaginable. I mean, the guy just days ago survived a near-miss attempted assassination, and the Democrats like AOC are already back to comparing him to Hitler.
he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction. Someone like Donald Trump. If you care about the
See the light, right about time, see the face. You ain't got no distress and takeaways. No more time for me and you. Take me on the road, baby, you do. Take me back in time, say it right. Oh, baby, sing it right for me and you. This is the time, the time, the time, the time for me and you, baby, baby.
Revealing just how close Donald Trump came to death when he was shot at his Pennsylvania rally on July 13th. A computer-generated 3D visualization made by social media account Point Consciousness shows a bird's-eye view of the bullet skimming Donald Trump's ear right after the former president moved his head. The 3D graphic also shows the path the bullet would have taken if Trump did not tilt his head at the last second. The image has gone viral on social media, with many saying Trump's survival was a miracle.
Right about time, see the face. You ain't got no distress and takeaways. No more time for me and you. Take me on the road, baby, you do. Take me back in time, say it right. Oh, baby, sing it right for me and you. This is the time, the time, the time, the time for me and you, baby, baby.
Please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
You know the rules of the game.
Making sure that we continue to support.
Now you ready to play the game?
Making sure that we're able to make every single.
You know the rules of the game. Now you ready to play the game? You know the rules of the game. Now you ready to play the game?
Medicare. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery, refused to go there. He was standing with the first guard general, and he told me, I don't want to go in there because I went to the one that suffered. My son is not a loser, is not a sucker. You're a sucker. You're the loser.
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way.
Look, I'd be happy to try to help us now. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. The crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, or doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? What are you talking about? You live with the morals of an alley cat.
We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him, they don't fear him, they have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO.
The whole country is exploding because of you. Because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world.
They're just mandating that people do this one thing. One size fits all.
You want to live, you're going to have to trust us.
When they're saying that, like the unvaccinated shouldn't have access to health care, what they're doing is they're signaling to their tribe, for the people that also took the vax, the good people. They feel this way. We're going to fight off those outsiders. We're going to deny them health care. Fuck them, cast them out of society. It's what happens when cowards encounter adversity. When cowards encounter adversity, they give in quick. They give in quick, and they decide that what they're doing by giving in quick is virtuous. There's also very clear influence of both the media and of the politicians by these massive pharmaceutical companies. If you want to talk about the most criticized and most disparaged aspect of our society when it comes to like the dangers to people's health, the desire to earn unstoppable and constantly ever-growing amounts of money every year, forever we've been suspicious of those people. Forever people pointed to them as being one of the real problems with capitalism that hits with medicine. And here's my biggest fear. It's an engine for controlling the population. It's an engine for the institution
You have talked about this woke mind virus. Yes. In really apocalyptic terms. You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus? And if we don't deal with this, nothing else can get done. Tell me why you think that.
I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. Those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous. Is that it's anti-meritocratic. You can't question things. Even questioning is bad. Another way to almost synonymous would be cancel culture. And obviously people have tried to cancel you many times. Yeah, I mean
every week.
Yeah.
From left and right, I've had it from both sides.
Those folks coming out of that field down in Virginia carrying swastikas and torches. The vein and bulging on their skin as they were screaming. It was a wake-up call for us as a country. And for me, a call to action. At that moment, I knew I'd have to run. My father taught us that silence was complicity.
Oh, really? By that standard, the President of the United States is complicit in that Antifa violence going on outside of Atlanta, where thugs have descended on a new police training project. No, that wasn't Charlottesville. That was actually in Atlanta. Okay, this is domestic terrorism, which the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is charging these 23 individuals with. Only 2 of them, though, are actually from Georgia, with one being from Canada, another from France, and even more outrageous, yet kind of unsurprising, one of those charged is an attorney for the Southern Poverty Law Center, the group that proclaims its mission as rooting out extremism. Well, it employs those that engage in extremism. Now, given those facts, especially the interstate travel component, what the heck is the excuse for Biden and Garland not to move forward, at least discuss this? How about an indictment of these folks? Everyone wants to give credit to Biden for coming out against that D.C. City Council bill, like he's suddenly Mr. Tough Guy on crime. But his silence here reveals the real story. Joining us now is the...
Tracking this and how worried is the White House? I have not heard any discussions about this protest over the weekend, so we'd have to go back to the team and see where we are, where we're standing, and a response on that. This is the first time I'm hearing about this protest over the weekend.
It's the first time she's hearing about it. I mean, if this was something that happened at CPAC, that was some scuffle outside CPAC, should be all over it, but oh no, it's just a police training site. It's a giant protest, and they're swarming it over the weekend and setting fire, but that's no, I haven't got.
She makes it sound like it's a lovely, peaceful, polite gathering. Not anything like when they set 30 armed officers
conservative Americans or pro-life Americans. Again, while Antifa is running free and running wild, not to mention the drug cartels and the gang members running absolutely amok in almost every major city in America.
Yeah, our children, our teens are dying from fentanyl, and they're asleep at the switch. Same thing.
Cancellation. It extends far beyond criticism. Cancellation involves social media blogs engaged in public shaming and the creation of blacklists. It seeks the destruction of the career reputation of anyone who differs with the leftist position. The bullies, says social critic Douglas Murray, want to stop the rest of us talking or thinking.
The problem is we've forgotten how to be genuinely proud of our great country, both America and the United Kingdom, two of the greatest countries in the world. It's almost like every day now, somebody somewhere, normally on the left, the woke left, is queuing up to find a reason to hate the countries and their histories.
Well, it's a kind of grievance competition. Your guest earlier just tried to engage in it. I don't know what her chief theme she had from slavery. All of this was addressed 2 centuries ago. Everything has consequences. All history has consequences and ramifications. But if we were to play this fairly, we would at least look at all of the countries around the world that engaged in the slave trade who are simply not interested in any form of reparations. The Ottoman Empire, all the Arab countries who not just traded far more slaves than across the Atlantic, but castrated all the men so that there wouldn't be any more African slaves after them. They worked them to the bone. I see no interest across Africa in paying reparations for selling their brother and sister Africans into slavery or for working them to the bone to the present day. There's slavery across Africa today. In fact, there are more slaves in the world today than there were at the height of the transatlantic slave trade. So some of us are simply a bit bored of hearing people ripping at closed wounds and then crying about their hurt or their presumed hurt. Because everybody could do this. 1 million Europeans were stolen by North Africans over the course of decades of the North African Barbary pirate slave trade. Where would you end if you did that? The answer is you couldn't end, because nobody is alive who has actually suffered the hurt, and nobody is alive who did the wrong. And I'd make one other point, if I may. It's always the countries that people want to come to who are put through this struggle session. Britain, like America and France, are the most desired destinations for migrants worldwide and have been for centuries. Why is that? It's not because we're racist, it's because we're better, it's because we're good, it's because when we see racism we actually call it out and recognize it as a sin. Try finding that across Africa, try finding that across the Middle East or in China. Nobody would hear. So what we have is a situation where the more virtuous countries are presented as the worst countries. It's sick and most of us are tired of it.
Thank you, Douglas.
I am so sorry that Douglas is bored by the pain that has come
That's not what he said.
through slavery.
He didn't say. He didn't say. But what you're doing there, yeah, but hang on, Paula. Paula, you're being very disingenuous. That's not what he said.
I am.
The viewers aren't stupid. They know exactly what he said. He's not saying he's bored by the pain. He's saying, and I think it's a perfectly valid point, the pain that people who are alive today are claiming they're suffering for what happened 200 or 300 years, it's not a real pain. They're not the ones who suffered what was going on 200 or 300 years ago.
So in terms of justice for all, I mean, I think we'd all agree that there
Well,
should
I'm
be
not
justice.
suffering from when the Normans invaded this country.
Agree.
I'm not suffering from what my ancestors went through.
I noticed that I've not been allowed to respond.
Or from the Romans. In other words, where do you take this? I mean, should I now be feeling pain from what the Romans did to this country?
In terms of slavery, I can take it to 2015, when the slave owners were compensated by the government. So I can take it to that extent.
Where is your personal pain?
And I can say to you that I don't think that apologising is a bad thing. I think that apologising for a wrong is a good thing. I think that the Dutch royal family have done a fantastic thing in acknowledging what has gone wrong.
Okay, I hear you. I
society.
honestly think it'll make no difference at all.
Not Kevin Hart, not J.K. Rowling, not Woodrow Wilson, not Drew Brees. Not the famous or the unknown, not the living or the dead. So many have been burned at the social media stage. One has to wonder if the mob is going to run out of victims. But this fire will not burn itself out. We have to stop it. How? First, if you ever find yourself in the cancel culture crosshairs, don't apologize to the mob. Apologize when you've done something wrong, not when you've exercised a constitutional right. And furthermore, your apology won't save you. It merely hands the bullies another victory. Stand firm. The storm will pass. The mob always moves on.
Thing that I could think of, which is a Nazi.
Do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews? Do you want to gas the Jews?
Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling and Ricky Gervais have proved that if you stand up to the woke, eventually you win. J.K. Rowling's book sales went from $7 million to $11.9 million worth last year. This despite the fact she was attacked by trans activists because she said that women deserve their own private spaces. As for Ricky Gervais, well, he's just won Best Stand-Up Comedy Series at the Golden Globes. Have a listen to that latest series. Here he is.
Well, I am woke now, and I can prove it. Here you go. I love illegal immigrants. Yeah, sue me now. Sometimes I go down to Dover for the day, right? And I look out, right? I look for a boat, and I see a dinghy with about 60 of them, and I go over here, like, right? And I pull them into shore, and I go, women and children first. They go, there are no women and children. Just you lads, is it? Just come on, lads.
There you go. He is absolutely hilarious. I love that this man has still not been cancelled. He said worse before. At the last award ceremony that he hosted, he was picking on Epstein and how he didn't kill himself. And then when nobody was laughing, he's like, look, I know you're all his best friends. And then everyone's like, oh, you can't say that. He's just absolutely brilliant and doesn't care.
But they can't cancel him because he won't let them cancel him. It's people giving in to the pressure who give the woke people a popularity. I mean, no one cares about woke except the woke.
That they believe, for instance, that being a woman should be merely the first step in a wider mission to bring down capitalism. Now, I don't think most women are on board with that, and most women would be rather surprised to be utilized in this fashion. But that is very clearly and explicitly, and I quote the various scholars and writers who've been pushing this for years, this is explicitly the aim. It's a basis for madness. When people say the gay community, who are you talking about? It's like, women think this. Oh, really? 50% of the species all agree on something. Blacks say this. Really? Now, this is, let me put it another way. If somebody said, I don't know, I just love the working class. Who? I just love the middle class. Who? I love the upper class. Who are you talking about? And it's the same with this. Why would we be falling for this interpretation of society as depending solely or primarily on interest groups based on gender/sex, sexual orientation, race, and a bit more? Why would we be doing that? Why would we be taking the individualism out of individuals and lumping them in these demonstrably incoherent bodies that don't even exist? They don't even exist. The LGBT community. Take me to your leader. Come on. And it's why, as I say, you can always predict exactly who is going to latch onto the latest claim. When, for instance, the big bearded man with male genitalia wins the women's weightlifting competition, you can predict with 100% accuracy who is going to say, yeah, what's the problem with that?
When I was a little girl, I had this dream that seemed so impossible. I was going to be the fastest runner in the world. I got this little nugget of an idea from my dad. He used to watch me run and say, "Ain't no woman alive that can beat you." And I believed him. He made me feel invincible. It wasn't easy. I trained hard, harder than anyone else I know. But I was made for this. I was an unstoppable force. A life dedicated to perfection.
And the people who are going to say, I'm not sure Clive, the big weightlifter, should be winning the women's category. You can predict it. And the people who say, why have you got a problem with that bigot, are always the same people who believed in the past that our societies needed to be pulled apart in another fashion. And now they'd like to do it in this fashion. It has this hideous red interior which keeps exposing itself as desiring not a better relationship between ourselves and our environment, but for instance, the end of capitalism. This new morality we're trying to construct relies on us pretending we know about things that we don't know about, trans, and simultaneously demands that we pretend not to know about things that we all knew till yesterday.
Save our kids is right. Save our kids is right. And you're right. Thank you. And I will keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay.
Cat Williams was right. This year, the truth will be exposed. We will see clearly who is on God's side and who is from the other side.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
The Paris Olympics opening ceremony was disgusting, to say the least. For some reason, France and the West picked this moment to show us some random guys' balls. Emmanuel Macron thought it's cool to see people's balls on the telly, so he went on to tweet, "This is France," immediately after the opening ceremony. What's so fascinating about the filth we witnessed that a whole president would endorse it? Even the Olympic YouTube channel saw the many wrongs with it and decided to take down the video. Sponsors are pulling out of the Olympics, which in all honesty isn't too bad. Many Americans know and have seen this happen time and time again all over our schools and public places. The minority is trying to control the majority. But fear not, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump has already addressed this atrocity. America will not be like France. We need Trump to win because a president that speaks the truth is what this country needs. He is by no means perfect, but he sure does have the right idea for what this country should be.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children.
In contrast, we have Kamala Harris, who has no fear of God. She's no different from Emmanuel Macron. Kamala is not a woman of culture. She's trying to please people who can never be pleased. Regardless, God will not let this happen. People with no fear of God will say anything and try to please anyone in order to get a vote. You can never please the devil. He'll only steal more and more from you before he eventually destroys you. What an abhorrent scene to see the Paris Olympics ceremony with a golden calf hang. Remember the story of Moses in the Bible? When he came from the mountain, he found the people worshiping a golden calf. The agenda is very strong against God, and that's why people that fear God need to stand up against the agenda. And all those that continue to try and push it, we must not ever let them indoctrinate our children into their nonsense. Trump doesn't endorse it, and hopefully we have such a president as a country.
First, it appears video of the opening ceremony has been removed from the official Olympic Games YouTube channel. Now, of course, the opening ceremony caused huge controversy after it was used to mock Christianity, promote gender fluidity and platform public nudity. And now, while full videos of other opening ceremonies from previous Olympic Games are freely available, well, the Paris ceremony is not. Just 24 hours after appearing on the site, it's suddenly vanished. The IOC say there's no big conspiracy, they just don't have the digital rights to display the footage. But that fails to explain why it was uploaded in the first place before being taken down. Caleb and Liz, if you ask me, I would actually prefer that they did remove it, because that would at least show some contrition and maybe even some embarrassment. The queer artistic director of the opening ceremony, who was responsible for the fiasco, he said, "I didn't mean to offend anybody, we were just promoting diversity." That old chestnut, that if you say it was to promote diversity, well, then what you saw was not some pornographic, satanic sort of display of hedonism, it was diversity. And then we're all supposed to say, oh, diversity is our strength. What do you think, Liz? Do you think this is an issue of digital rights, or do you think the organisers have said, you know what, this has turned really bad really fast, let's just quietly hide the evidence?
Yeah, well, it went viral for all the wrong reasons, and the backlash has been so profound that is obviously why they've taken it down. Now, the artistic director that you referred to, his name is Thomas Jolly, he says, quote, "Our idea was inclusion," end quote. Right, so you thought the best way to go about parading inclusion at an event that the world is watching, and a lot of kids as well, by the way, was to mock the Last Supper, some of Christ's last moments on earth before his death, his ascension. It boggles the mind. We all know that they went out of their way to do this. I mean, there's any number of things that you could have instead done for the opening ceremony, and yet this was frontline and centre. And the sad part of it is, besides what you've just said, this being an outright display of degeneracy, like, let's normalise this. I don't think anyone wants that normalised. That's all anyone's been talking about. So these athletes who have trained for years, day in, day out, to make it to the most esteemed position in the Olympic world, have now been overshadowed by everyone just talking about how utterly disgusting and disappointing this display of degeneracy was. And it was clearly a dig at Christians. There's 2 billion of us. We're not going anywhere. You can preach DEI to us until you're blue in the face. We are not going to change what we believe. And this just seemed to absolutely, thankfully, tank worldwide. Nobody appreciated this. And you've got companies now pulling their ad sponsorships for the Olympics. And I think that is one of the best, most really practical ways that people can show their disgust. So Mississippi tech-based company, they're called C-Spire, has pulled theirs. And I think this may well and truly start an avalanche of other companies doing the same. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves came out and commended them for doing so, tweeting, quote, "God will not be mocked." That's a scripture verse, end quote. And so I think that this is wonderful. The backlash that we have seen just goes to show people are not okay with these kind of flagrant displays of what can only be described as utter degeneracy.
Hello and welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards, live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais, thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking, I never did. Let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all gonna die soon, and there's no sequel. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no, shush. It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to the cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done Netflix, you win everything. Good night. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. The Irishman was amazing. Long, but amazing. It wasn't the only epic movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long. Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So we were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. It just, no. Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent. If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God.
maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us here the same high standard of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking His blessing and His help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
Once upon a time, not long ago, when the player from the point didn't have no room, a nigga hit me from a tennis shoe, walking through the store, call a player slipping, when I lay it on the floor, just like wow. Since I got the heat, and my baby mama name high, never bragging to the state now, even when I was a girl, never talk to strangers in the trap, and that's
Senator Schumer is at a secure location, and they're locked down in the Senate. There has to be some way we can maintain the sense that people have that there's some security, some confidence that government can function and that we can elect the President of the United States. Did we go back into session? We did go back into session, but now apparently everybody on the floor is putting on their gas masks to prepare for a breach. Well, I'm trying to get more information. They're putting on their tear gas masks.
We need an area for the House members. They're all walking over now through the tunnel.
I'm going to call up the effing Secretary of DOD.
The January 6th thing is bad, but also the intelligence agencies were involved in provoking people to go into the Capitol building. That's a fact. I think every other person who was involved in January 6th, who was involved in coordinating a break-in into the Capitol and instigating people breaking, they were all arrested. This guy wasn't.
I don't know if he had been approached about the Virginia National Guard, Mr. Governor Hogan, but I still think he's probably...
any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
The mocking of the Last Supper.
I thought it was...
Catholics and Christians across the globe are outraged.
I mean, they can do certain things. I thought it was terrible.
Can you say at the next Olympics, if you're present, you'll have enough influence on the organizers that we won't be, insulting Christians?
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. You understand.
Yeah.
You know me better than most people know me. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions, just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion. Break the silence. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a box. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who had into my little world who wanted, until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. What'll you bet? Painful to me. Painful to me. Painful to me. Way to get rich. Pierce right through me. Pierce right through me. In hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. Can't you understand? It's the young that marry his old fashioned. That swinging is more fun than what you see on TV. Oh, my little girl. It's the way to be. And thus I can undress you in public. Vows are spoken to be broken. Feelings are intense. Words are trivial. Pleasures remain. So does the pain. Words are meaningless and forgettable. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary. They can only do harm.
Thanks also to leadership China in terms of fighting pandemic, in terms of greeting innovation. We have now
to be broken. Feelings are intense, words are trivial. Vows are spoken to be broken. Feelings are intense, words are trivial. Pleasures remain, so does the pain. Words are meaningless and forgettable. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms. Words are very
On the surface, Wednesday started like so many Trump rallies had before. But the anger and the tension felt more intense. Congress was about to confirm Joe Biden's presidency, and most here were convinced it was a fraud.
Do you think people are angry today?
Absolutely, people are angry, and you can feel it. You can feel the rage, the madness.
Before Trump's speech was even finished, many were already making their way to the Capitol. And as more protesters arrived, the movement darkened.
We're here at the Capitol steps. Right after the Trump speech was finished, people started filing over here and started pressing against the Capitol. They started spraying mace, pushing the lines back so people could breathe. We're going to move forward. USA! USA! USA!
But as we pushed up,
Who's on the media? Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
they tried to smash our campaign.
Who you with? Who? Who's your government? Is it CNN?
One of these old days.
Police started throwing flashbang grenades.
One of these old days. We ain't gonna have to cry no more. I said we ain't gonna cry.
I mean, it looked like you got it bad enough as it is.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are. Not as weird and creepy as J.D. Vance. Super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. Just plain weird.
Just plain weird. Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate, they're weird. Deeply and profoundly weird. Weird.
These Republicans just being weird, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies.
Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was his talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird to me that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. That is weird behavior.
Weird and cultish.
These are weird people on the other side.
He kind of doubled down on his weird ideas. Weird is probably generous. Simply weird. These guys are just plain weird. Vance as weird?
You know, as the campaign said, weird.
It really is just plain weird.
J.D. Vance, plain weird.
I mean, I don't know how else you could read it.
Weird. It is kind of weird.
We're not afraid of weird people. The other side, they're just weird. Why are you being so weird?
He's done something more extreme, more weird. No matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
Trump and Vance are just weird. In addition, it could be dangerous to democracy.
That's the weird part that's the most engaging.
Whom he addressed as my beautiful Christians, which was super weird.
Weird tech bro, J.D. Vance.
He's a weird guy.
J.D. Vance, uneasy and sort of weird.
Frankly, for lack of a better word, that he's weird.
Sarcastic remarks that aren't even funny, and he kind of shows that he can't really deliver one-liner.
So, Stan, weird is the word here in terms of initial impressions from Vance.
Now, maybe the worst and most dishonest thing that Kamala Harris has done, and it is a long list, my friends, is that she helped cover up Joe Biden's declining mental capacity for years. It's actually sad. Putin, Xi, Kim Jong-un, all these dictators, they have been sitting in private rooms for 3.5 years, licking their chops because we have a president who can't actually do the job. Now, anyone who's too blind to see Biden's incompetence or too dishonest to admit it is not fit to serve as commander-in-chief. She lied to us. She lied to all of us, and it's unacceptable. And you know, they never give President Trump an easy path. Kamala Harris, the Democratic elites are trying to install her as their new nominee without her receiving a single vote for president. The media, our friends back there, they call it a coronation. I think there's another word. I call it a coup. In America, we do not crown our leaders, we vote for them. Democrat or Republican, you gotta give the voters a choice. But if there's one thing we've learned about Kamala Harris, it's that she has a hard time winning votes because she's too extreme even for the Democrat Party. Remember, in the 2020 primary, Harris dropped out months before they even cast the first vote. She was so unpopular, she polled in the low single digits among Democrats the entire campaign. She wasn't even the top 3 in her home state of California, and that is pretty embarrassing, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason is because Democrats know that the American people would never elect a San Francisco liberal who's so far outside the mainstream.
You won't hit it.
Now,
when you got that fever, I know you get it. I know you're gonna
we've got to give some credit to our Democrat friends because they were right in 2020. The American people are never going to elect a wacky, out-of-touch San Francisco liberal like Kamala Harris. Now, I saw the other day
Kamala Harris questioned my loyalty to this country. That's the word she used, loyalty. And it's an interesting word, simplify, loyalty, because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to this country than what Kamala Harris has done at our southern border. And I'd like to ask the Vice President, what has she done to question my loyalty to this country? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country. I built a business for this country. And my running mate took a bullet for this country. So my question to Kamala Harris is, what the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States of America? And the answer, my friends, is nothing. So let's send a message to the media. Let's send a message to Kamala Harris. Let's send a message to every hardworking patriot from Minnesota across the country. We are ready to have President Donald J. Trump back, and we're going to work our tails off to make sure it happens. God bless you all. Thank you. And thank you for having me, Minnesota. A great state.
Kamala Harris, Vice President, will get all of Biden's campaign money. And on the Democrats' best issue, abortion, she's a walking reminder to women that Republicans are coming for the abortion pill. She won't just protect Plan B. She is Plan B. And as a former prosecutor, Kamala was putting criminals in jail back before liberals decided that was a bad thing. And now that CBS is locking the shaving cream behind plexiglass, Democrats are coming around to her again. Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no finger. As Vice President, she's been quieter than an electric car. And like an electric car, your MAGA uncle can't explain why she fills him with homicidal rage. She just does. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Okay, you get it. He's doing a little bit of everything always, and he has to throw in the MAGA stuff and all that, but he's acknowledging she's not popular. This border joke at the end, like, if you are liberal, flashback again to the lesbian video from last week. I can't remember her name. Does anyone remember her name? It doesn't matter at the moment, but I will contact you. If you care about anything that is liberal, if you care about women or minorities or anything else, then the border is the number one issue. Everything is downstream from immigration, period. That's how it works. So Bill is acknowledging nobody likes her. She has no track record of doing anything. And the few things that she was tasked with, or in this case, the one thing that she was tasked with in the last 3.5 years, she absolutely destroyed, which is the border.
What do you think of Kamala Harris?
I think she is a politician.
Yeah.
And she's interested in the accumulation of power and control.
Do you think she believes in anything?
I think she believes in government, like most Marxists.
Yes.
I think she is a Marxist.
Do you think that she can win?
Absolutely. She can win. This is going to be a great test of the power of the media to take someone who formerly was universally disliked and transform them into a godlike figure. And they will use everything that they have to try to do that. The question is, are the American people smart enough to see through it? And I actually think that than anybody gives them credit for. And I don't think that they are going to be willing to sacrifice what we have in this country, which is what everybody else wants, even though they try to denigrate our country, say we're systemically racist, we're unfair to people. If we were all that bad, why are all these people trying to get in here? And why aren't people trying to get out of here? So we know that we have something that's very good. And I think the American people realize that, and they're not willing to give that up and trade that for something.
George is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since being appointed by border czar by President Joe Biden, Kamala Harris has undoubtedly been a complete failure in her job and has destroyed our country by releasing a record-setting level of criminals, rapists, and terrorists into our communities. Despite the attempts of the fake news media to whitewash her.
This is what we're doing now. You don't love me no more. You don't love me no more. We don't like each other over colors. We fight each other over colors. When we should love our neighbor as our brother. But we're hating over colors like we own us. Black, brown, red, yellow. So the question is now is whether to fight or do not.
the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free. The government is communist, and those who run it are communists. And that means we and they view such issues as freedom and human rights very different. We must keep up our guard. It seemed to me that we'd begun reversing the order of things, that through more and more rules and regulations and confiscatory taxes, The government's taking more of our money, more of our options, and more of our freedom. I think we have stopped a lot of what needed stopped. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that as government expands, liberty contracts. Those of us who are over 35 or so years of age grew up in a different America. We were taught very directly what it means to be an American. And we absorbed almost in the air a love of country and an appreciation of its institutions. But now some things have changed. Younger parents aren't sure that an unambivalent appreciation of America is the right thing to teach modern children. And as for those who create the popular culture, well-grounded patriotism is no longer the style. We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is free. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. If we forget what we did, we won't know who we are. I'm warning of an eradication of the American memory that could result ultimately in an erosion of the American spirit. And children, if your parents haven't been teaching you what it means to be an American, let them know and nail it. That would be a very American thing to do.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
I'm here. The president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign. The borders to foreign powers. I'm here. Breaking news out of the FBI has executed an unprecedented search warrant. A president Donald Trump, our former president, has prophesied that the political aisle is in on an unstable
Joe Biden finally exposed his senility. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total inside. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant, and I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is significance of the past. So when you think about it,
think the country went to... You ain't seen nothing yet.